On a freezing winter night, when Junko was heading home after finishing her part-time job, she suddenly felt a presence behind her. Before she could react, someone struck her, sending fear rushing through her body. Just as the panic set in, she saw a familiar face, her classmate Hiroshi. He approached, chased the attacker away, and offered to walk her home. Relieved, Junko trusted him. After all, he was someone she knew. As they walked together, everything seemed normal, until it wasn't. Instead of heading towards her house, Hiroshi led her to an abandoned building. That's when his tone changed. His calm demeanor vanished, replaced by something far more terrifying. He began shouting at her, and in that moment, Junko realized she was no longer safe. This is the story of Junko Furuta, a high school girl from Japan, whose case shocked the entire world. Even decades later, since 1989, the story continues to send chills down the spine. Junko was 17 years old. She was kind, well-liked, and a bright student with a promising future. But everything began to change when Hiroshi, her classmate, asked her out, and she politely refused. She had no idea that this simple rejection would lead to one of the most horrifying crimes in history. On the evening of November 25, 1988, after leading her to an abandoned building, Hiroshi began demanding that Junko comply with his terms. And when she resisted, he threatened her, claiming connections to organized crime groups. And then he sexually assaulted her. That night, around 3 a.m., Hiroshi took Junko to a nearby park, where 3 of his friends were waiting. Junko recognized one of them as the boy who had kicked her off the bike earlier, and then it hit her. This wasn't an accident. The boys had planned it all, luring her into a trap so Hiroshi could gain her trust and carry out their horrific plan. They took Junko to Hiroshi's home, instructing her to pretend that she was a friend of theirs. Astonishingly, Hiroshi's parents never questioned her presence, but Junko had no idea what awaited her. 2 days later, Junko's parents grew worried. They contacted police, sparking search for their daughter, and the boys began to panic. So they forced Junko to call her parents, and she was made to pretend that she was safe, enjoying time with friends, and telling them to halt the police investigation. They also threatened her that if she did not obey, they would kill her family as they knew where she lived. For the next 44 days, Junko Furuta was subjected to unimaginable torture, and all the while she was completely helpless. She knew that no one was looking for her and no one was going to save her. Throughout her captivity, she was beaten multiple times, and it is believed that she was raped almost 400 times. The boys hung her from the ceiling and used her as a punching bag. They also forced her to lie down on the floor and rolled heavy bear balls all over her body. From time to time, they burned her body with a cigarette, a lighter, and candles. This wasn't enough. They forced her to eat live cockroaches, as well as her own feces and urine. The boys subjected Junko to an insane torture imaginable. They would also insert foreign objects into her body, including an iron rod, a light bulb, and scissor, and even fireworks that would light inside of her. They mutilated her body severely, and after a week or so, the 4 boys began inviting their own friends to the house to join in this torture. Most notably, 2 of the boys named Chitsu and Koichi, the 2 of them abused her like the others did. After that day, Koichi couldn't shake the guilt. The weight of what happened to Junko pressed heavily on him. Finally, he confessed everything to his brother. His brother was horrified, told their parents, who in turn contacted the police. 2 officers were sent to Hiroshi's house to investigate. When they arrived, Hiroshi's parents answered the door, insisting that there was no girl in there and nothing unusual was happening. They even offered police permission to look around, but the officer, trusting the parents' word, declined the search of the house and left. unaware of the horrors inside. Another missed chance. By early December, weeks into her captivity, Junko tried to escape and tried to call the police. But before she could do anything, Hiroshi caught her. And the boys brutally punished her, pouring lighter fluid on her legs and setting them on fire. Throughout her ordeal, Junko begged for death. She was forced to sleep on freezing balcony and sometimes locked in a freezer, enduring relentless abuse. Due to insane torture, she was unable to eat or drink properly, as her body would reject it. She had lost control of herself. She would urinate and defecate without warning, and the boys would punish her for this too. On January 4th, 1989, one of the boys forced Junko into a game, and when she won, they erupted in rage. They began beating her with an iron rod, and they burnt her eyelid with fresh hot wax. They made her stand and whipped her feet with a bamboo stick. All of her wounds had opened and there was pus and blood all over. And the boys didn't plan on stopping, so in order to continue beating, they put plastic bags around their hands. They again poured a lighter fluid all over her body, including her face this time, and set her on fire. This attack lasted for 2 hours until Junko became unresponsive. The boys assumed that Junko had merely passed out, as she often lost consciousness during their brutal beatings, and regained awareness after a few hours. They thought the same would happen this time. It wasn't until 24 hours after her death they finally realized that she would not wake up. Junko Furuta passed away on January 5th, 1989. So Hiroshi called his elder brother to help him dispose the body. They devised a plan so sinister that they wrapped her body with a blanket, put her in a 55-gallon drum filled with wet concrete and let it set. And then they dropped her into some deserted place. The boys returned to their normal lives until 3 weeks later, Hiroshi Miyano and Joe Ogra were arrested after raping a 19-year-old girl, an attack that happened when they had lost interest in Junko, and then they let her go. During police questioning, something unexpected happened. At the time, authorities were investigating an unrelated double murder case. Because of the certain similarities, they began pressuring the boys to confess. But in Hiroshi's mind, they weren't talking about that case. He thought they were talking about Junko. Believing that Joe had already confessed, Hiroshi broke down and told everything to the police. Up until that moment, the police had no idea that Junko was dead. They believed she had simply ran away. Hiroshi then led them to the location, and what they found was horrifying. Junko's body was badly damaged. It was unrecognizable. She was identified only through her fingerprints. Soon after, the others were also arrested: Shinji Minato and Yoshi Watanabe, and also Hiroshi's older brother. But there was one crucial detail. All of them were under 18. Because of that, their identities were initially kept hidden, until a journalist chose to publish their names, believing they didn't deserve anonymity. When the trial began, the charges shocked many. Instead of murder, they were convicted of causing bodily injuries resulting in death, a lesser charge with lighter punishment. In July 1990, Hiroshi, the leader, was sentenced to 17 years. He appealed, claiming the sentence was too harsh, but the judge reviewed the case and came to a different conclusion. He believed it wasn't too harsh, it was too lenient. His sentence was increased to 20 years. His family was also ordered to compensate to Junko's parents, forcing them to sell their home. The others received far lighter sentences: Shinji 4 to 6 years, Yoshi 5 to 7 years, and Joe just 18 years in detention. Shinji also appealed, and his sentence was increased to 5 to 9 years. In a disturbing turn, one of the boys' mother reportedly vandalized Junko's grave, claiming that Junko had ruined her son's life. Today, all of them are free, living under new names, walking among ordinary people. But Junko Furuta never got that chance.